Deep in the heart of Jamaica's verdant jungle lies a place of beauty and danger. The Blue Hole. Its waters are as clear as glass, but beneath the surface, it hides a dark secret. Locals whisper of a ghostly figure who watches over this enchanted lagoon. Her presence felt, but was rarely seen. This is the story of that spectral guardian, and the tragedy that binds her to these waters. The legend dates back to the late 18th century, when the island was bustling with plantations and trade routes. Among the many who flocked to Jamaica was a young woman named Isabella, the daughter of a wealthy British merchant. Her life, however, was not one of ease and comfort. Isabella was no stranger to heartache. Forced into an arranged marriage with a ruthless plantation owner, her life was filled with sorrow. Her only escape was the lush jungle, where she would wander for hours, seeking solace in nature. Isabella walks through the jungle, her gown trailing behind her as she heads toward the hidden lagoon. One fateful day, Isabella ventured deeper into the jungle than ever before, where she discovered the hidden Blue Hole. To her, it was a sanctuary, a place where the outside world could no longer reach her. But this beautiful lagoon held its own dangers. As she swam, a sudden storm rolled in, dark clouds blotting out the sun. The once calm waters began to churn, pulling her deeper. Desperately, she tried to swim to shore, but the currents were too strong. Isabella struggles in the water, her face filled with fear as she is pulled under the surface. Her final moments are seen through blurred water as she drowns. When Isabella never returned home, search parties combed the jungle, but her body was never found. Locals began to believe that the Blue Hole had claimed her soul, trapping her spirit in its depths. Soon, strange occurrences were reported, whispers in the night, cold hands brushing against swimmers, and the feeling of being watched. Villagers swimming in the Blue Hole often feel compelled to turn around suddenly, as though someone is behind them, only to discover no one is there. But Isabella's spirit was not vengeful. Rather, she became a guardian of the Blue Hole, protecting it from those who would harm its beauty. Many who ventured too close to danger would report feeling an unseen force pulling them back, saving them from the same fate Isabella suffered. A tourist slips on a rock near the edge, but is unexpectedly steadied by an unseen force that prevents their fall. To this day, visitors to the Blue Hole speak of the mysterious ghost guardian. Some claim to have seen her figure watching them from the shadows of the jungle, while others have felt her cold touch as they swam too far from shore. For over 2 centuries, Isabella's spirit has remained tied to the waters that claimed her life, silently protecting those who respect the beauty of the Blue Hole. Perhaps Isabella's spirit lingers not out of sorrow, but out of a deep connection to the place she loved, a place that offered her peace in life, and now, in death, has become her eternal home. For those who visit the Blue Hole, remember her tale and tread lightly, for the ghost guardian still watches. Long before Isabella ever set foot in Jamaica, her life was one of silent yearning. Born into a wealthy family, she grew up near the rocky shores of England. The vast ocean that stretched before her always called to her, stirring a deep longing for adventure and freedom. But her destiny, like that of many young women in her time, was not hers to decide. Though the sea whispered of freedom, Isabella's father, a powerful merchant, had other plans. She was promised to an influential plantation owner in Jamaica, sealing her fate to a life far from the world she had dreamed of. Jamaica was a land of heat and color, a far cry from the gray skies of England. But the vibrancy of the island could not lift the weight on Isabella's heart. Upon her arrival, she was married in a quiet ceremony, and her life of isolation began. Her husband, a man of wealth and influence, was known for his cruelty, both to his workers and to her. Depict the cold, distant relationship between Isabella and her husband as she gazes wistfully out of the grand plantation house, her thoughts wandering to the freedom she once longed for. While her husband controlled the plantation with an iron fist, Isabella sought solace in the untamed beauty of the island. The island's jungles became her escape, the one place where she could feel truly free. As her explorations deepened, she heard rumors from the local villagers about a sacred lagoon, a hidden place untouched by the cruelty of men. The villagers spoke of the Blue Hole in reverence. To them, it was a place of ancient power, a source of both wonder and danger. They warned her not to go, but Isabella felt an irresistible pull. One morning, driven by both desperation and a thirst for adventure, she quietly slips. For Isabella, the Blue Hole was more than a refuge. It became a symbol of the freedom she had always longed for, a place untouched by the world's cruelty. The water, clear and still, reflected a life she could never have. Here, in this forgotten corner of the world, she could pretend that she was not bound by duty or her husband's grasp. Day after day she returned, each visit strengthening her connection to the place, and in those moments the weight of her life seemed to lift. But the waters of the Blue Hole, much like the life she had fled, were unpredictable. Long before Isabella ever discovered the Blue Hole, the villagers had their own stories about its origins. They believed that the lagoon had once been the site of a sacred ritual, where ancient island spirits protected the balance between nature and man. But as time passed and foreign powers claimed the island, the spirits retreated, leaving the Blue Hole to guard the land. The villagers whispered that the spirits had never truly left the waters, but remained hidden, waiting for the day when balance would be restored. Those who disrespected the Blue Hole would meet their doom, claimed by the depths. Though the Blue Hole claimed Isabella's life, it gave her a new purpose in death. No longer bound by the chains of her former life, Isabella found herself drawn to the depths she had once feared. But instead of despair, she felt peace. The spirits of the Blue Hole had chosen her, and now she was bound to the waters, not as a victim, but as a protector. As the ghost guardian, Isabella embraced her new role. No longer tied to the sorrows of her earthly life, she became a silent sentinel, protecting the beauty and sanctity of the Blue Hole. Those who came with respect would find safety, but those who sought to exploit the waters would meet a different end. While many visitors today leave the Blue Hole with only stories of its beauty, there are those whose fates remain unknown. Over the years, a handful of disappearances have baffled both locals and authorities alike. Swimmers who ventured too far into the depths, divers who ignored the warnings, they vanished without a trace. Some say that the Blue Hole simply claims those who disrespect its power. Others believe that the ghost guardian, though benevolent, ensures that balance is maintained. To this day, there are those who refuse to swim in its waters after sundown, when the presence of the guardian is strongest. Though centuries have passed, the story of Isabella and the Blue Hole continues to live on. Her legacy is one of both tragedy and strength. In life, she was trapped by the expectations of society, but in death, she found freedom in the place she loved most. Perhaps that is the true mystery of the Blue Hole, that it does not merely claim those who enter its depths, but transforms them, binds them to the island in ways we cannot fully understand. For those who visit, remember that the waters hold secrets, both ancient and new, and somewhere, deep within, the ghost guardian still lingers, watching over all who dare to enter her domain. The Blue Hole is more than a natural wonder. It is a place where the past meets the present, where beauty and tragedy intertwine. And somewhere, deep within its waters, Isabella's spirit awaits, watching and protecting. Are you brave enough to visit? The next time you are in Jamaica, please like, share, and subscribe for more spine-chilling stories from the Caribbean and beyond.